I did. Hi. Hi there, Ragnar. Hi, well. My name is Aaron, and welcome to the Call to Cinema International. We went international about 3 weeks ago, and it's been pretty much a blast. So I have to say, we've been enjoying it here, getting used to everything. And if you are a Crimson Cult member, if you're not, there's a Patreon link down below. Check it out, because unlike some Patreon levels where basically you're stuck into a level and you can't get out of it, I don't level my Patreon. So basically, I'll let you do $1, $5, whatever you want to do, because I know, sometimes times can be tough, especially for us collectors. But if you do, then you're going to get to see a full tour. You'll be the first people to see when I actually get my stuff come and actually have the movies put up around there and the books as well. I will be doing Cult of Comics, which is going to be on both channels actually in the near future. We're going to be talking about Conan and some other stuff as well. Hey there, Alan. Welcome, man. And we are going to be talking tonight about Criterion, one of my favorite companies to collect, but lately been one of the harder companies to for me to collect, and obviously one of the hardest to collect as well. And did I do any collecting since I got here? Well, again, on my Patreon, there is a special Horrorcast exclusive, because Horrorcast is a thing they do on my Patreon. Look at me like pushing ahead, right? Look at me being all shilling, where I do things either by myself, or sometimes with my better half, or I'll have a guest on, and we'll talk about some stuff. And we did a out and about. Anywho, tonight we are talking Criterion. So let me just bring up the it here as well. I watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies recently. Has anybody seen that movie, by the way, while I'm doing this? Has anybody seen Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? Hey there, Eddie. Welcome, man. It's gonna like get loud for a second. I'm gonna like just chill it down. Oh no, it's not perfect. Because I figured Criterion would be an interesting thing. Because next month, or is it next month, or is it later this month that the Criterion sale starts? Like the Barnes and Noble, unless they stop doing that. Now, in the last year or so, Barnes and Noble was taken over by somebody else. It meant that their Criterion sale was not as good as it was before, and the Criterion half off sale that used to be available here well, not here anymore, used to be available in Canada as well as the United States, is no longer available. Criterion has done an exclusive deal with Unobstructed View, a Canadian company which I hope does well, but at this point are still they've got a lot of growing pains to go through. I was asked recently why I don't wear the hat as much anymore, and honestly, there's no actual reason to it. One, it's probably a little bit warmer here. We're at around like 5:30, 6 o'clock tonight. Went over to Cowden. It's a mall. Much body bags. And did you like body bags? Went to an espresso store, got some ice cream. Just I went and got some Starbucks. Got a pumpkin spice latte because I'm basic like that. And decided, you know what? We're I'm just gonna like look around. It was like 29 degrees. It was 29 degrees out, but it was like a comfortable 29 degrees. It wasn't like it was later in the night. The sun wasn't building down. It was kind of, it was dusk. We were walking around, and not dusk. Like, it was kind of dark, and the lights of the city, which I love. It sounds like an ambulance. I guess. I mean, like, I don't know. Anywho, I thought what I'd do is we go to the Barnes& and Noble Criterion page tonight, and I give you some recommendations, and I'd let you know about some Criterions that I want to pick up myself in the near future. Actual last Criterions I got were actually given to me. They were sent to me and by my good friend Sim Dave. and those were Night of the Living Dead and Carnival of Souls, which are two of my favorites. I really love those movies, and I'm so waiting for them to come. Now I did send over my Criterion collection, most of them, around 2 years ago when I originally thought I was going to be moving here. So in a big black case is all my Criterions. Yeah, I think you're gonna. That's what you're gonna get less and less of, like DVD from Criterion or from like a lot of companies. Most of the things you're gonna find in DVD right now, Alan, are gonna be like if the kind of like larger companies are selling DVDs in like in a Walmart or something like that in a bin, because it's relegated right now to like, in a lot of cases, to the bargain, or to like something that's really new. My cat is going crazy over there right now. She is having a blast. Anybody just get asked if they wanted ad free videos for their family? Just wondering. I get that on here all the time. I know. Don't worry. We are going to get to the Criterion section. I have not forgotten, but I thought we could chat a bit first because chatting is fun, and I'm a little bit hyper. Anyway, bodies, bodies, bodies. Great soundtrack. Really liked the soundtrack. Enjoyed the hell out of the film. It had in it. I brought up the casting here because that's a good thing about using two computers. Amanda Steinberg, Maria Bakalova. She was in the second Borat movie. Uh, Myha'la Herald, Chase Wonders, Lee Pace, Pete Davidson was actually really freaking good in this film. So I don't see the hate people give on Pete Davidson. Connor O'Malley, Lee Pace was good too, by the way. Surprisingly, really good. I don't know why it's surprising. It's Lee Pace. But most importantly of all was Rachel Sennett. And not gonna lie, she kind of stole the show. Rachel Sennett does that. She's just she's good actress. She's comedic. I'm not quite sure if Dead Man's still in print. I wouldn't know. I don't have that one. Well, somebody here's a Criterion fan, and you know if Dead Man's still in print. That I don't know. Now, I have been trying to catch up on some of the videos. So if you're a YouTuber, I've actually started to try to catch up with videos, whether it'll be a Just the Discs or Michael Keane or Master Chaos or Piswell or I've had Samurai Guy um, or or the Asian movie theaters. There's so many people that I'm trying to catch up with right now, and I'm doing my best. It has taken a while because every morning I feel like I get up and there's something else that I have to do. So I try to, when I can in the nights, I try to make sure that I get some time into either do a pre-tape video, do some editing, do some writing, do a live video like I'm doing right now. Now, if you like that, hit the like button because it does help the channel out a lot. And by the way, I the two people that looked at the Playtime video safari, you forgot to hit the like button. You did. I'm just reminding you because I know it wasn't on purpose. No, you didn't mean to hurt my feelings, especially considering I actually went out into the heat and actually took footage for you guys. Anyway, let's look at the Criterion site, and we'll go from there. One of the neat things about Barnes& Noble's Criterion page is the way that it's structured. Sometimes I like it, other times it drives me up the wall. You can see like coming soon from Criterion, we'll see things like Wall-E is here, The Power of the Dog, Eve's Bayou, Velvet Underground. We see Criterion 4K UHD. I was really excited when Criterion decided to get into into 4K. So that was a big freaking deal. I actually have not got a Criterion 4K yet. I'm hoping maybe I'll pick something up when I am in when I'm in Canada. A big shout out to my fam, if any of them are watching. I'm not sure if Emma's still up or if my youngest at a party, and or if Raj is there. Hey, Raj. He'd never say anything, but he would be watching like secretly, covertly. Anyway, let's look at recommendations for this. And is there any place you want to start in particular? Do you want to start with the 4Ks? You want to start with the regular movies, the box sets? Because it's broken down a lot here into a lot of different ways. 'Cause I can start with 4Ks, I can start with box sets, and we can just look over some of these films here and give some recommendations. You guys can give me some recommendations because I don't have any of the 4Ks, and there's a lot of these that I don't have now. But there's a lot of the criterions that I do have, stuff I can recommend. Like off the top of my head, I'd I'd have to say, Don't Look Now. If you're, especially if you're in a filmmaking, if you're a filmmaker and you're in editing, you got to watch Don't Look Now. It's a requirement actually. I'm putting it out there right now. So if you want to edit film, if you want to look at like the way film's constructed, then you watch Don't Look Now. If you want to write film and you want to just get like really good dialogue, well, one, go to a food court, listen to people. I actually really do recommend that. Not even a joke. But there are some fantastic films for that just have amazing dialogue. But Sweet Smell Success is probably the biggest one when it comes to dialogue. Sweet Smell Success just does it really, really well. Hey there, Scudder. Regular Criterion that order. So we're gonna have to break down a little bit more than that, and I'm gonna give you a recommendation right here. I like to lose my location. No, screw off. Don't use my location. And we got Double Indemnity. It's a fantastic film by Billy Wilder. He directed this one. This is a 4K Ultra HD, starring, of course, the beautiful Barbara Stanwyck. We got Edward G. Robinson and Fred McMurray. This really is a seminal role for McMurray. And Double Indemnity is an incredibly fantastic film. If you have never seen it, honestly, just go in as blind as can be. But I just really think that Double Indemnity is one of those film noirs that has gained such a love and such an appreciation over the years that it's hard to find somebody that hasn't seen this film, especially. There, UNDC, you also have great taste, man. I would love to have a 4K of Sweet Smell Success. It's such a good film. And much like Double Indemnity, the runs into like this kind of like this film noir crisp dialogue style that they use, and such beautiful cinematography. Billy Wilder is fantastic with Double Indemnity. So let's just get back to look at another one here. That was a 4K. So let's pick out a. Let's pick out a box set here. I just got a message from my cousin Raj. He always sends me when Ryan George has like new videos out. We're both big fans. So I could pick a classy one. Well, this is still classy. When Criterion were going to put out number 1,000, because Criterion, one of the neat things about the Criterion collection is that they're numbered. And if you are OCD like me, that's both a blessing and a curse. But everybody said 1,000, number 1,000 for Criterion. It's got to be something big. It's got to be huge. Like there was things bandied around. People thought maybe an Akira Kurosawa box set because there'd been an earlier one, but it was way back in the days of DVD before before they were doing blue. Some people guesstimated maybe it's Godzilla. He's about as huge or big as it can get, right? It's kaiju after all. But some of us were like, oh, Godzilla is big, and they did do Godzilla on Blu-ray. But are they really going to put a Godzilla set? They are. They did. And here it is right here, the Godzilla Showa era. So this is the early original era of Godzilla. If you've ever seen this set in a store or anywhere. It is a huge freaking set. It is just massive. Has some amazing films on it. I love the show era, even though we quite a few Kennys in here. I would love to say that everything got to be remastered in the most fantastically wonderful way, but the truth of the matter is that Toho is very, very strict with what they give away. So you get what Toho gives you. That is what you get. And that's what Criterion got. Criterion, and you get to put on the features that Toho say that you're allowed to put on. Criterion did the best that he could with the Godzilla box set, and I do think it is a really worthy addition to your to anybody's collection overall. But this definitely isn't the say the quality of the Gamera remasters. If you were like a Gamera fan, for instance, Arrow did a better job, but Arrow's hands weren't tied by another company like Godzilla's were, like Criterion's was with Godzilla. But still, would I recommend it? 1,000,000%. I think it's a fantastic set, and if you're a Godzilla fan, it's gotta love it. One of my favorite films, and I did do the play for this. It was called The Front Page. A lot of there's been a lot of Broadway plays on this thing here, and it's got Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell, and it's called His Girl Friday. It is one of the kind of one of those films that okay are super snappy and super cool. Come over here. Okay, guys, I have to show you something. Come here. So, hold on. Hello. This little gal came sneaking up. Say hi to everybody. Okay. All right. Our nightly appearance by Lordy. Let's get back to the thing. You're so cute. Hey there. If you're here and you didn't give a like for Lordy, come on. You know you got to. Or you're soulless. Who wouldn't give a like for a cute kitty like that? That's just wrong. Anyway, His Girl Friday is an amazing film. One that I truly adore, and I loved doing this when I was younger. We did this play. It was fantastic. The dialogue is so cool, so like fast and snappy. It's a screwball comedy. It really is. They made this like years later. What's it called? Changing channels, something like switching channels. Yeah, switching channels with Burt Reynolds in the Cary Grant role. And I do like Burt Reynolds. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not going to say that Burt Reynolds was Cary Grant either. It just wasn't. It just didn't work as well. I think that's when they had Christopher Reeve in it too, as the boyfriend. But I would 1,000,000% recommend that one. You guys can get some recommendations too. You guys are super quiet tonight, and I'm gonna say, don't be quiet. This will be a short video if you guys are super quiet. The beautiful Rita Hayworth in one of her defining films. She gets to work alongside Glenn Ford, who she would work alongside again, actually a couple times, and George McCready as well. This here is a fantastic film. If you have never seen Gilda, I recommend it. And I also recommend if you pick up Gilda and you love it, Mill Creek put out a box set of Rita Hayworth. They put out one on Blu-ray and put out one on DVD. And the DVD actually has more films than the Blu-ray one has. So I got both of them. But Rita Hayworth as Gilda, it's fantastic. I love the fact that we can talk. We got such a give and take here. You guys are so active tonight. See, I'm not sure how late it is there, but just so you know, here it is 1:13, and I'm doing all the talking. You like the Alpha Truth? I'm not sure. Alpha Truth is fantastic, but I do love his girl Friday. I do have a soft spot for it. Hey there, Randy. Welcome, man. I'm sad here about that Reeve because Reeve was, God, well, he was younger then. He was kind of like earlier in his career. But I'm surprised about the Burt Reynolds one because Burt Reynolds is usually the guy you hear the stories about. It's 3 a.m. there, 8 a.m. there. Nice. Well, okay. Well, I got a whole like smorgasbord of time frames. The thing about being here right now is like it's I I'm still trying to figure out the time frames for different areas. So hopefully this works better for some people. And like if you're in the UK, then you're probably closer to my time frame. So you got no excuse to miss me if you're in the UK right now. Got to go for COVID testing. Well, I hope that's okay, man. I hope it works out okay for you. You or me too. He did one of my favorite movies. There's a movie that he did with Michael Caine called Death Trap, and it's just a little movie, but it's a beautiful film. Again, based on a play, and Michael Caine is this author, and Christopher Reeve plays kind of one of his students, who's written this amazing script, amazing book, and so Michael Caine's there with his wife, and he's like, nobody knows that he wrote this book. So if something was to happen, I had the book. Anyway, there's a lot of twists and turns in it, so definitely check it out. I'm going to give my next recommendation to like definitely one of the definitive 80s films, and it's a very 80s, and it is Amy Heckerling's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. From the opening like mall sequence with the fantastic Go-Go's music playing, Fast Times just really takes hold of you. Screenplay by Cameron Crowe, you know, based on the novel. It's fantastic. The cast in this movie is amazing, and under a different director or maybe a different like screenwriter, this may have come off as just your average kind of meh 80s sexploitation comedy or something like that. Not even a Porky's, like maybe a Doing It or something like that, or The First Time. But this doesn't. This comes off as a really real, kind of really raw film that truly gives you the experience of what it was like growing up in the 80s and what it was like being a teenager. Um, with actors like Sean Penn, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Judge Reinhold, doing all extremely different roles. Now, Sean Penn's character is probably the most caricaturish out of all of them, but I'm not going to lie, I did know a couple people that were kind of like that. Not as bad as him, not ordering pizza in class or anything like that, but we're a bit on the not on the brightest side. Nicolas Cage, I think going by Nicholas Coppola back then. Eric Stoltz, Forrest Whitaker has a role in this one as well. I would get the wonderful Ray Walston in an amazing role where he plays the teacher, Mr. Hand, and I definitely recommend it. Robert Romanos is kind of sort of the sleazebally type. Hey there, Kay, welcome, man. Now, when you wore that tape out, was there a certain scene, Indy? Was there a certain scene that got played more than others? Not gonna say, but just in case, just because I know that when I watched the movie and when I rented it, the the part near the pool sequence with Phoebe Cates, um, it was kind of it was glitchy, and we all know why it was glitchy. Because if you've ever known VHS, there's the thing like if there's like a violent scene or a nude scene in a film, uh, when people rent those, you like rerun them and like let's see, oh, you got to see this scene, or I got to look at this scene again, over and over again. And you'd know because when you rented a VHS, especially if it was one that had been out for a few months or a year even, that when you get to the scene, it'd be a little bit more crinkled. It'll be a little more glitchy. He did do a voice for Heavy Metal. I actually forgot that. A&A Records. Oh, man, that takes me back. One of Spike Lee's definitive films is Do the Right Thing. It had an amazing cast, incredible message, and it's probably more powerful today than it was when it initially came out. And trust me, when I saw this film when I was younger, it hit hard. We got John Turturro, Spike Lee, Richard Edson, Danny Aiello. I'm just reading the cast off of there because honestly, the cast is incredible. Rosie Perez, I think's in this movie. I think Rosie Perez is in this movie. Is she mentioned here? I know Samuel Jackson. Yeah, Samuel Jackson. Yeah, okay, there she is. Rosie Perez, and he would become a much bigger star later on. The just amazing, wonderful actor, Giancarlo Esposito. And if you've ever watched Breaking Bad uh, and saw somebody straighten their tie, like, you got to think about Giancarlo. Actually, I did. Don't Lovers from Evil, I really liked. Jungle Fever is really good too. Well, it was hard. I mean, like, when you do this, like, to be honest, when you do this epic of a film, then it's hard to like just come off and just do something. Look like Tobe Hooper. You made Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's kind of hard after you do that to like just come in and say, okay, well, my next film is going to be like John Carpenter made Halloween. Took him a while to really get another film that really stood up as a John Carpenter film, because when you make a classic, you you, unfortunately you don't try it because you don't know you're going to make a classic. You know you're going to make something that's going to be like resonate for future generations. Spike Lee did that. John Carpenter did that. Tobe Hooper did that. So it's incredibly hard when you get there and you realize, what do I do now? Like, how do I top this? Something resonated when George Romero made Night of the Living Dead, and we had the assassination of happened right, right as it was coming out. He had to be thinking, and it's taking off. He had to be thinking, how do I how, how do I how do I do this? How do I make another one like this? But I guess he wasn't, because he didn't have exactly the greatest time with Night of the Living Dead when it came to the product. He didn't make a lot of money off of it. But he went to Argento, the Dario Argento, to get Dawn of the Dead made. The studios wouldn't actually help fund it. Dario Argento over in Italy actually helped fund it. And in doing so, he got to make his own cut of the film with goblin music. It's fantastic. Anybody that's got Dawn of the Dead knows like the different cuts of the film. So it's just incredible when you get to that. Orson Welles and John Singleton. Yeah, that's the crazy part. You make a film, you don't know, like, you want to go in and you want to put your heart into it, and you hope and you pray that it's going to resonate with people. That people are going to watch this film, going to look at it, and they're going to say, that's going to stick. That's a hit. Uh, but you also get to that point where it just it just stays there. If you're Charles Lawton, I guess in a way it's got to be fantastic. You made Night the Hunter, truly one of the great thrillers and dramas of all time, and that's the only thing you made. You didn't have to worry about that second film kind of iffiness, second film failure. And I don't know if Night Hunter was as big a hit back then as it was now, but like the cast of Night Hunter, like older, but Lillian Gish was in this one here. The cast right there, Shelley Winters, Robert Mitchum. Mitchum truly, truly like shines in Night Hunter. Cape Fear is another fantastic Robert Mitchum film. But Night Hunter just has it has the cinematography to go with like an amazing script and some incredible performances. There's a beautiful yet eerie sequence beneath the water in Night Hunter, and I'm not going to go any further than that. But if you've seen the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is a really really great addition. There's a fantastic behind the scenes in this film, kind of a making of with Night Hunters in the DVD or Blu-ray edition. I've got a second disc. It's incredible to think that a lot of this stuff. Michael for real, that is amazing. Hopefully he's doing okay because I'm a huge fan of Michael J. Fox, and it's, he's the guy that was one. He's Canadian. He's a fantastic actor, and he's got a physicality to him that in his films that's hard to replicate. John Ritter was another actor like that that had a certain specific physicality. Chaplin, Jackie Chan were able to like act and like just bring a physicality to it that you wouldn't expect. And unfortunately, he's got stricken with MS, which is it's a damn shame, really. But just what an amazing guy, what an amazing actor. One of the people that I looked up to when I was growing up was Michael J. Fox. I watched Family Ties. I had points dressed like Alex P. Keaton, and if you know what that means I wasn't too super cool. Did you say hi to him, or did you just like kind of go on like? I wouldn't know if I would have this. I don't know what I would want to say something. I wouldn't want to bother him, but it's like when I went to the comic convention and I paid to get my picture taken with Stanley. Obviously, I could say something there, but I was pretty much spellbound. The Stanley who created my childhood, pretty much along with Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. Um, all I could say was thank you. That's all that came out. That's all that I could utter at the time. It was thank you. So where are you getting your coffee at? Maybe don't say maybe just in case he goes there all the time or something like that. You don't want him to get bothered. Okay, here's a good one. Eyes Without a Face, an incredible little thriller that I'm definitely going to recommend to you guys. Now, some of you guys are going to look at Eyes Without a Face and you're going to say, well, who've seen like you've seen other things like this. Well, I've seen movies like this before, but when Eyes Without a Face came out, like people hadn't, like not really, and not done this way. And even if you've seen this like basic premise before, it's just the way that it's acted, the way that it's shot. It's so good. It's such a beautiful film, and I will always recommend this one. I actually only have the DVD. I've never gotten the Blu-ray of this one right here. It was at a time when we wanted to get a bunch of Criterions. We didn't have a ton of money at that time, so we decided that rather than get like two or three Blu-rays, we would get like seven or eight DVDs. And with that, we got Eyes Without a Face. We sat down and watched it. It was the first one we watched when we got them all. And both of us, both me and my better half, love this film. There's so many good ones here. I'm just looking at the cult section right now because that tends to be like a place that I love. Like Haxon is here. Again, it's a fantastic film. One of the ones that I bought like kind of blind because I hadn't seen the movie before. The Czechoslovakian film Valerie and a Week of Wonders. Tampopo. Now, Tampopo was one that I got to see a little bit later after it came out because it wasn't one that showed up in our area, especially in the theaters. At least not as far as I knew. But we had a channel called CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and we still thankfully have it in Canada. Now, one of the neat things was that CBC was good at showing different movies, like unique movies. Too surprised. I can understand that. My better half's the same way. She was living in New York at the time. She was gone to see, I think, her uncle. And she stepped into an elevator. And in the elevator was David Bowie and Iman. And my better half is never at a loss for words. I've never seen her at a loss for words in her entire life. But she is the biggest David Bowie fan in the world. And she was just flabbergasted. She was stunned. Anyway, Tampopo. Tampopo is a really fantastic film, kind of like it's really good, kind of erotic a bit, very unique, very different. And I saw it because CBC used to do a series of international films every Saturday or Sunday. Andy, you might remember this. CBC will put on like an international film, and I try to watch them as whenever I could. I gobbled up film as like still like today as much as I did back then. Hey there, Rich. Welcome, man. It is. I mean, I'm pretty good. I'm right here in Morocco, just kind of enjoying myself and having an interesting little Saturday night. I think my kitty cat's just gone to sleep. But Tampopo stood out to me, like from the scenes, like kind of making the noodles, the eroticism, the uniqueness of the film. If you've never seen this, it's a fun one. It's a comedy. Arsenic and Old Lace is one of my favorite movies of all time, like hands down, like right up there with Black Christmas. I love Arsenic and Old Lace. Mary Walsh is in the Terror Train remake. I have to watch that now. I love Mary Walsh. For those that don't know, Mary Walsh is like she's a Canadian treasure. She really is. She has been in like a ton of things. Most Canadians probably know her, especially if you're uh, if you're younger for shows like This Hour is 22 Minutes, which is the same place that Rick Mercer, another famous Canadian comedian, came from. But she did a show earlier on than that in the back in the day called Codco, and she's just one of those like incredible actresses. I'll check it out. So CTV is a free streaming service, and it works with or without VPN, Indy. So I was going to go to sleep after, but I may have to watch Terror Train now. I'm hoping it's good. Um, I heard one person say online that he didn't like Terror Train, but then he said he didn't like the Slumber Party Massacre like remake that was done, and I had a blast with that movie. Most people I knew did actually, so I was like, well, you know what, the Slumber Party Massacre movie was pretty good. I like that. So I'm going to give Terror Train a chance. So now that Mayor Walsh is in it, I'm going to give it an extra chance. And if you've never heard the name Mary Walsh, and you've never heard Rick Mercer before, look him up on YouTube. Trust me, his like rants are incredible. His rants were so popular from the This Hour's 20 Minutes. They ended up getting his own show, the Rick Mercer Report, and even wrote a book of his rants. VPN set to Canada. All right, that's what I'm going to do then. Not that I've got a VPN, but if I did have a VPN, then I would maybe set it to Canada and watch this stuff. We got Straw Dogs here. Definitely not for everybody. Looks like there's a Blu-ray, Alan, of Dead Man. I'm not sure if the DVD is still there. Let's check and find out. Dead Man's never been a favorite of mine, uh, but it's not a bad film. But yeah, it looks like it's there. Does stick close? They're like, as in, we're gonna know who the killer is if we've seen the other movie close. That's my only problem. Was like, if you're gonna change one thing in Terror Train, because like, for if you've never seen Terror Train, guys, it's actually not a bad movie. It's actually a pretty cool movie. But there's a killer in Terror Train, and it's a mystery. Like you know who the killer is, but you don't know who on the train the killer is. And the twist is actually pretty good. But it'd be interesting to see how the new one's done, and if they stick completely to script. I really hope they don't. I hope they change the ending a bit because Terror Train suffers not from the killer. The killer reveal is amazing. From having a rushed ending. For anybody that's seen the original Terror Train, you'll know that there's that like fight at the end with Jamie Lee Curtis. Fraulein. I don't know if I've seen Fraulein. Fraulein? Is that one of the ones you gave me? Because that's still in Canada. I love Neil Young. I tell you that much right now. I haven't seen Dead Man in years. Carnival of Souls gets a strong recommendation from me. I just love that film. The ending to the original is not impressive. So that's the one thing they should have changed. Because literally, in the ending to the original Terror Train, he just falls off the well, he gets pushed off the train, and we assume that he's dead. And there was, obviously there's no follow up, there's nothing, but it's pretty much like pretty standard. Got Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, written by the late great Roger Ebert. A lot of people rag on Roger Ebert and Siskel and Ebert show because he wasn't a big fan of the horror films, the slasher films. I don't have it, Video Man, uh, of today. But the thing is, he did like some. And hey, the Kubrick, welcome, man. I always get like emails from Kubrick. Kubrick always updates me, like on when there's a sale going on, or there's some like there's the last day for a sale or a sale starts. I can always count on Kubrick to send me like a send me an email, and I haven't like thanked him for that yet, and I really should. So I gotta say big thanks to you, man, for that. Say a nice one to watch when you had your dinner. Yes, exactly. But Beyond the Valley of Dolls, that was really kind of this quirky, fun, weird little film by Roger Ebert, and I really enjoyed it. One thing I will say is I miss Ebert. I miss his style of like writing, even if we disagreed like tremendously on a film. I always respected his opinion and respected the way that he wrote his reviews. He was an amazing writer. Eh, Dude, no, anytime, and you do awesome stuff, and I really appreciate it. I should have said so before. But this channel would not be here if it was not at this day, at this point, the way this is done, if it wasn't for Roger Ebert or Gene Siskel. So rest in peace, guys, because truly, as a kid watching your show growing up, whether it be at the movies or Siskel and Ebert, it helped inspire me to want to know more than just hey, I'm just gonna watch a movie. I wanted to learn more about it, and I wanted to be able to kind of do sort of at least a little bit of what they do. And it was like they were such a good team, and they didn't always love each other. That's for sure. And I tried to get into like Roger Ebert and Richard Roper, and I thought they were okay, but it just wasn't the same. I would go on like wanting to see scenes from films. This is be pre-YouTube for you younger people there. Like they'd say, okay, we're going to be showing the new Friday the 13th. We're going to be talking about the new Friday the 13th. I knew they'd hate it. I knew they would like literally like and they would be like so super, like especially Gene Siskel. Cisco would be like super like critical of the films. Like he would call it like he was venomous. He'd be like, "This film is it's horrible. It's another teenager film. They just got to make bad decisions." Thomas the sale going on. No, try to check afterwards. Thanks, Alan. And that's the thing. They were so fun. They played off each other so well. In the early days, they had like a little dog, and they have like the dog of the day, a dog, basically dog of the week. Would be a movie that they considered really crappy, and I am pretty sure that neither one of them liked working with the dog, but they did. But Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, buy it in honor of the late great Roger Ebert. You may not have agreed with him, but you had to respect him and you had to like him because nobody loved movies more than those guys. They hated a lot of slashers, Kubrick, a ton of them. Now that being said, movies like Halloween, they they gave them thumbs up. They really enjoyed the way that Halloween was done. There were some other films, even like there's a later Friday the 13th film that I think Gene Siskel liked. I can't remember which one it is. Roger Ebert was pretty like across the board. Didn't like any of them, but there was a latter one. Maybe it was part six that Gene Siskel liked. I'd have to go back and check. And they argued about certain things. I remember that Roger Ebert really liked what was being done in Child's Play too. Oh yeah, I went through those entire Letterman interviews. I love those. And he said, I don't want to like Child's Play 2 because it's, and I understand their point. Like these are guys that are watching movie after movie after movie. And some of the horror films that they're watching they were darker. They were more downbeat for them. So you can't always not take your work home. That's the thing. So Roger Ebert said at the time, I really like the way this is shot and filmed, and I wish I could have more good to say about Child's Play 2. But at the end of the day, it's Child's Play 2. And Cisco was like, had none of that. He was like, I don't care how it's shot, I don't care how it's filmed. This poor kid and the stuff he had to go through. Like Cisco took it to heart with some of these characters. He really did. Like when you looked at people like Andy in Child's Play and Madge, it's like the kid actor having to go through that and having to do those scenes. He really took it to heart. But yeah, anyway, I sorry about the rant there, but I thought it would be interesting to give a chat about. We got Hedwig and the Angry Inch again, fantastic musical. You guys know I love musicals. Sex Lies and Videotape. This is probably one of my most wanted releases. It's by Steven Soderbergh. We got James Spader in just an amazing role. Peter Gallagher and Andy McDowell. It's a unique film. We got to do like a video one these days, guys, on like Cisco Neighbor. There you go. I'm actually going to read the overview for this one because this is one that I truly love. Here we go. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can actually. Let's do a dramatic reading of the overview. Steven Soderbergh kickstarted the independent film movement of the 1990s with this landmark drama about the tangled relationships among four people and a video camera. John, played by Peter Gallagher, is an unscrupulous, self-centered yuppie lawyer with a beautiful wife named Anne, played by Andy McDowell. Anne feels secure and well provided for in the relationship, but has almost no interest in sex. She tells her therapist she's more concerned about waste disposal. John, however, is still quite interested, and he's having an affair with Anne's sister, Cynthia, played by Laura San Giacomo, whose personality is fire to Anne's ice. It's the one area in which he's been able to best her more successful sister. She relishes her abilities to seduce Anne's husband. Into this dysfunctional picture comes Graham, played by James Spader, a college friend of John's whom he hasn't seen in 9 years. Graham has decided that talking about sex is more interesting than actually having it. So he meets women and asks them, discuss their desires, talk about their fantasies as he tapes them with a camcorder. A sensation at the Sundance Film Festival, the film made that festival a synonym for a brand new type of low budget indie drama about contemporary life and relationships. Together with Quentin Tarantino's very different Pulp Fiction, Sex, Lies, and Videotape was one of the most influential movies for independent filmmaking of the 1990s. Not a word of that is a lie. Go for Patreon? Actually, not a bad idea. As I try to keep getting more people into the Patreon indie. Still working on it. I appreciate you being there. And hopefully you got to see some of the stuff that I've done recently. I just did a hunting in Morocco video. Like physical media hunting, not like hunting. Hunting. Sex, Lies, Videotapes is one of my favorite films. I remember renting it and watching it and just really understanding James Spader's character. And then literally rewinding the videotape and watching it again. Not a lot of films get me to do that. Hey, Jesse, welcome, man. But Sex, Lies, and Videotape really did. Crumb is one of the most uniquely different documentaries. If you're a comic fan or a graphic novel fan or just a fan of like illustrations in general, you're probably going to like Crumb. If you're a fan of weird, strange, unusual awkwardness, you're also probably going to like Crumb. Robert Crumb is one of the big independent comic artists. He did things, incredible things like Fitz the Cat. He just did some really uniquely different films. Robert Crumb, Peter Bagg were two of the names that you'd think about when it came to the underground comic world. And Crumb is a fascinating, fascinating watch. Silent Hunting video, thanks. The Lure is one that I actually haven't seen yet. I'm going to be honest. But both me and my better half watched the trailer, and we really want to see The Lure. Killer Clowns, for a Facebook group that you're part of, voted. I love the movie Killer Clowns. Um, the directors on my Facebook, we disagree a lot. I'll say that much right now. Jim Jarmusch's Stranger Than Paradise, again, another fantastic film. Samuel Fuller's Naked Kiss, just an amazing piece of cinema that I definitely recommend. It is so unique. It's raw. It's cinema at its most, I guess, verite. Sam Peckinpah's Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. I haven't seen that one in ages, man. Criterion Laserdisc is nice. I gave my Laserdisc player to my oldest because she loves Laserdiscs. It's 18 Rules. I like 18 Rule. You know, it's a quirky cult film. It's Paul Bartel and Mary Warnoff. So Jesse, if you're like strange kind of dark humor, and you like Paul Bartel and Mary Warnoff, you're probably gonna like it. I thought it was really fun. Road on a Wire is actually really good. That's a good call on that one. Do you know I have yet to see Honeymoon Killers? Like, not a lie, I just haven't gotten around to watching that movie. Vengeance is Mine. See, Kubrick watches a lot of Criterion stuff, probably a bit more than I do when you think about it. He works at a library and got access to some really good criterions. So I always have some good suggestions, even if we don't always agree. Um, let's do sci-fi horror. I know a lot of my viewers like sci-fi horror, so I'm going to give you some good recommendations here. Man, Witch Dog's actually really good. Let me know what you think, by the way. Then you'll probably like Eating Rule. For you get to see them both in that as well. You know, everybody's going to recommend Night of the Living Dead because it's such a great movie. It just really is. I'm also going to give a strong recommendation to probably one of the most mainstreamy type films. I don't know if there's more of a actual more heartwarming, kind of romantic style film than The Princess Bride. There's three words that everybody that's ever seen The Princess Bride will remember, and it's words that if you have a significant other that likes this film um, understands when you say it, and that is, of course, As You Like. If you've ever seen The Princess Bride, that's all I have to say is As You Like. Actually, Eyes Without a Face, Jesse, was one of my first things I recommended uh, on the when we were going through the video earlier on. So if you check it earlier to the beginning of the video, you'll see that. And Videodrome is one I've always liked. It's my, James Spader is as good an actor as bad as a person. But Debbie Harry is really good in this one here, and Videodrome is such a uniquely weird film. House, I really enjoy. I know not everybody's gonna like it, but I love House. Scanners. I was not a fan of the lead in that, but Mike Lawrence had truly made Scanners for me. And being a Canadian, um, getting to see Louis Ciccone, or Louis de Grande as his real name, get, have the amazing head explosion at the beginning of the film was pretty awesome and pretty incredible. See, here in Canada, we had a show called Seeing Things. It was a series that lasted for a while. I think it went on 5 or 6 seasons. And you probably know too. And it was about a reporter whose wife had like walked out in the middle, left him, and his family had a bakery, so he got hit on the head. I won't tell anyone just. He got hit on the head, and he got psychic powers, so he could. But the killer part about Louis' visions is that he would only see a portion of the vision at a time, so he truly didn't. You know, it was like a mystery kind of unraveling without the complete vision. You really couldn't tell what was going on. Sometimes seeing a little bit of something that's going to happen or something that has happened meant it kind of like steered him in the wrong direction. It was an incredibly fun show. It starred his wife, his actual wife, in the series as well. I think Lou Grande now lives in Nova Scotia. I wish I ran into him actually, but I never did. And he is not just an actor. He's not just a guy whose head exploded in Scanners. He's also he's a writer, and that's what he like primarily was. Didn't just act and saying things. He wrote saying things, but he wrote a very popular Canadian comedy series with Al Waxman called King of Kensington, and him and his wife actually kind of had a guest star appearance on that as well. Particular slipcover. It does have a cool cover. I own it, Kubrick, and I almost picked it up again just for that slipcover. I'm not gonna lie. It was when they were closing down HMV, but it just wasn't cheap enough. And by the time it got cheap enough, somebody already bought it. But I'm hoping somebody that did not have the one like I had. Reaper Man is a really good film here. Harry Dean Stanton's incredible in this. We're going to Emilio Estevez. Brazil is wonderful. The Brood, again, another fantastic Canadian actor with I didn't know, would go on to do a series called ENG that came out at the exact same time that I was going to school for journalism. I think David Cronenberg and Brian De Palma made the first X-Men movie. Maybe. If you were talking about like a newer style of X-Men, kind of, sort of. Carnival of Souls is a wonderfully fantastic, hauntingly beautiful film. I really like The Blob, but I'm not going to lie. I might prefer the 80s remake to The Blob. I know, it's sacrilege, right? But I think I might. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love the original film. I think it's really good. I just think that the remake actually surpasses it. Sisters is incredible. We got Jennifer Salt and the beautiful late, unfortunately, Margot Kidder in this movie. And like most Canadians of my age and of that time, was completely in love with Miss Lois Lane herself, Margot Kidder. And Carnival Soul is one of those that, if you see it at the right time, it's definitely always going to work for you. But it's one of those that grows on you as well. So maybe give it another shot. The remake of the Blob, I definitely would say is better. Autumn Lost Souls is another fantastic film. Fiend Without a Face is so much fun. Hey there, Mike. Welcome, man. Robinson Crusoe on Mars with the great Adam West. But let's go back. I went too far back. Before I go, because I'm pretty going to end up going fairly soon, let's look at Troma's website. I also said that Troma's having a sale right now. Let me know what you think of it, like Kubrick, because I know that my better halves have been very curious about the lure. All right, we do have a Troma sale here. We got some. Lloyd, you got to get your website done a little bit better than this. We'll go into Blu-rays. I'm not seeing anything sale-wise as of yet. I mean, I could just like a couple of dollars taken off. Okay, here, like from $19 to $16 doesn't seem like a ton of a sale. Let's go to page 4. Just see if anything's like really gone down. It's kind of a sale in the looser sense of the word, unless I'm missing something. Because not a lot of really like kind of big sale items on here. Take us to the bottom of the mainstream. I do. I like Troma. I got to meet Lloyd Kaufman. My better half definitely talked to him more than I did. But I got to meet the Troma people when I was in Montreal. They were really nice. Lloyd was extremely pleasant. He's as sarcastically funny as you think he is. And he's ever the showman and the businessman. He's truly the reincarnation of, he's the newer sort of like P.T. Barnum. But definitely dig this. But yeah, it seems to be like a slight sale, and I always say recommend, like, if you can, like, support companies like Troma, definitely do. But it's nice to know that they are putting a little sales there. I would like to see. I kind of wish Chicago titles have not been in stock that are finally back. So there you go. Look, there's some titles that weren't in stock. If you're a Troma collector, maybe you know what they are. You see have a section here for like recently kind of like back in stock. But with that being said, it's that time again. As we've talked on here for about an hour, what movie would you consider trauma-esque that's not trauma? Street Trash, Frankenhooker. Well, Street Trash, yeah, for sure. Uh, you want a trauma, like a not trauma movie that is like very trauma? Body Melt. It's an Australian film. It's almost an anthology film, but it is that over the top gore, dark humor that trauma just, and sometimes slightly offensive, that trauma just does so well and does better than almost anybody else. I can definitely say that. I'm finishing out that Moroccan coffee. I'm getting through it. Actually, it's probably time to watch Terror Train. So, Andy, I'll let you know what I think. My name is Aaron. I want to thank you for joining me here in the Coliseum International. If you want to see more videos and some more behind the scenes stuff, if you want to see what this place actually looks like, if you want to see around, see more, check out the Crimson Cult. As always, our merch store, soon be updated. We got a donation link and a super chat. Our channel hasn't made money in about 3 months off of AdSense, so any time, it's appreciated. But what I really, really, truly appreciate is when you guys hit the like button and when you come in here and talk to me. So I still haven't seen anybody go into the tier lists and do like a tier maker after those 2 tier lists I made and make their own list yet. I'm still waiting to see one of those be put out and tweeted out and put at me. So I'm looking forward to that. My name's Aaron. This is the Call to Cinema International, and you guys rock. I'll see you soon, because I gotta have, as Kubrick said, some of that Moroccan coffee to keep me awake.